There was a time when success was quiet. It wasn't about who spoke the loudest, who posted the most, or who ran the fastest. It was about doing your work well, closing the day with a sense of peace, and going to bed knowing that you gave the world your best. But somewhere along the way, that kind of success disappeared. It became louder, sharper, more demanding. We stopped chasing meaning and started chasing metrics. The climb never ends now. The emails don't sleep. The numbers never stop moving. Every quiet moment feels like lost time. Even our rest has become a performance. Packaged, branded, shared. We no longer rest from work. We rest for work. It's strange, isn't it? We built a world where success screams, but satisfaction whispers. Where we measure value by visibility, and silence feels like failure. We tell ourselves we're working toward freedom. But the truth is, most of us are running from stillness. Because in stillness, there's a question we don't want to answer. What if I've been climbing the wrong mountain? The more connected we became, the more disconnected we felt. The more productive we became, the more empty we became inside. And so in the noise of achievement, we lost the art of being human. Every ping, every meeting, every like, every view. Another tiny spark of validation. But each one fades faster than the last. And that's how the climb never ends. Not because there's no top, but because we've forgotten what enough looks like. We used to dream of arriving. Now we only dream of keeping up. We used to chase purpose. Now we chase relevance. And somehow, the higher we go, the smaller we feel. If you've ever sat in a quiet room after a long day and felt that strange ache, that emptiness that success can't fill, then you already know what I'm talking about. That's not failure. That's your soul trying to breathe again. Maybe success was never supposed to be this loud. Maybe we just forgot that peace is also a form of achievement. Because sometimes the quietest lives carry the loudest truths. We built a world that rewards movement, not meaning. The faster we go, the more we are celebrated. But no one tells you that speed has a cost. It takes away your ability to feel the ground beneath you. The climb is thrilling, yes. But what happens when the air gets too thin? Some of us learn this the hard way. The promotion we once dreamed of brought more anxiety than joy. The recognition we craved turned into pressure to never fall short again. Success became a kind of silence. Not peaceful, but hollow. The applause fades, but the echo stays. And in that echo, we hear the question we've been avoiding. Who am I when I'm not achieving? That question haunts many of us, because somewhere in the noise of ambition, we stop defining success for ourselves. We let the world define it, louder, faster, higher. And when the world changes, as it always does, our sense of worth trembles with it. We were taught to chase security, but not serenity. To collect accomplishments, but not clarity. We built resumes, but forgot how to rest. And as we keep running, we lose sight of what we were running toward in the first place. There is a strange loneliness that lives in constant motion. You're surrounded by people, but rarely seen. You're celebrated, but never understood. The world sees your success, but not your silence. The sleepless nights, the invisible worries, the fear that maybe you're not living, just performing. Sometimes it takes a quiet failure to remind us what matters. A missed opportunity, a forced pause, a moment when the noise finally stops. At first it feels like loss, but then, in the stillness that follows, something unexpected appears. Peace. It doesn't shout, it just waits patiently for us to notice. That's the irony of our age. We chase peace through noise and success through exhaustion. But peace isn't found at the top. It's found in presence, and presence requires quiet. So maybe success didn't become too loud by accident. Maybe we made it that way because silence scares us. Because when it's quiet, we have to face ourselves. And what we find there isn't always comfortable, but it's always real. The restless climb continues for many. But for those who dare to pause, something shifts. The view changes. The air softens. And in that brief stillness, you remember why you started climbing at all. Maybe the climb was never about reaching the top. Maybe it was about learning how to breathe again. Slowly, quietly, honestly. Because when we finally stop running, the world doesn't end. It just becomes still enough for us to hear what was always there. The sound of our own life waiting to be lived. And perhaps that's where success begins again. Not in noise, not in numbers, but in a calm heart that finally remembers what matters. There's a moment after every victory when the noise fades. The room empties, the phone stops buzzing, and you're left alone with the quiet. At first it feels peaceful, like exhaling after holding your breath for too long, but soon the peace turns into something else. A question, a kind of ache. The echo of everything you thought success would fix, but didn't. We grow up believing that achievement will silence doubt, that once we reach a certain point, the noise inside will stop. The fear, the comparisons, the need to prove. But the truth is, success doesn't quiet the noise. It just changes its tone. What used to sound like, "you're not enough," becomes, "don't lose what you've gained." The voice never leaves, it just wears a better suit. For a while you keep performing, smiling in the photos, giving the interviews, playing the role. You tell yourself this is what you worked for. But at night, when the applause fades and you take off the mask, something inside you whispers, "Why do I still feel empty?" That emptiness is not failure, it's feedback. It's the soul's way of saying, you built everything except peace. It's not the lack of success that hurts, it's the absence of meaning inside it. People rarely talk about the loneliness of achievement. The higher you climb, the thinner the air gets, and the fewer people can breathe beside you. It's not that they don't care, it's that success isolates. It builds invisible walls made of pride and fear. Pride that you can't show weakness. Fear that if you stop performing, you'll disappear. We don't realize how addicted we are to the next thing, the next milestone, the next praise, the next project to fill the silence. But silence has a way of catching up. In the space between promotions, in the pause after applause, it waits for you to notice that you've been running from it all along. And when you finally do, it can feel like a collapse. You start questioning everything. The long hours, the constant proving, the people you neglected along the way. You begin to see that somewhere between ambition and exhaustion, you lost something essential. Not your drive, not your talent, but your joy. The echo of achievement is not the sound of success. It's the sound of distance. The gap between who you are and who the world expects you to be. It's the silence that follows applause, asking softly, "Was it worth it?" But that echo isn't your enemy. It's a teacher. It reminds you that no accomplishment can replace connection, purpose, or peace. It asks you to look inward, not outward, to measure your worth not by what you've done, but by who you've become. And maybe that's where true success begins. In the moment when you stop performing and start listening to the quiet, because beneath the echo, there's stillness. And in that stillness, life whispers back, "You were never meant to earn your worth, only to remember it." We spend so much of our lives in motion, always moving, always reaching, always trying to keep up with a world that never sleeps. We call it progress. We call it ambition, but sometimes it's just fear in disguise. Fear of slowing down, fear of being left behind, fear of what we might feel if we stopped. We are praised for our speed. The faster you reply, the more dedicated you seem. The more meetings you attend, the more important you appear. Somewhere along the line, busyness became a badge of honor. We learned to wear exhaustion like an achievement, and the world clapped for it. But there's a cost to living this way, one we rarely talk about until it's too late. The cost shows up quietly in small moments at first. You forget what day it is. You skip dinner again. You wake up tired no matter how long you sleep. And slowly you start to realize that the person who built all this success no longer feels alive inside it. We pay for constant motion with things that can't be replaced. Health, presence, peace, the laughter at the dinner table, the sunsets we don't notice, the people we love waiting for us to come home. Not just in body, but in spirit. There's a part of us that keeps saying, just one more project, one more goal, one more year. But one more never ends. Because the finish line keeps moving. And by the time you realize it, you've built a life that looks full from the outside, but feels empty within. We forget that motion and growth are not the same thing. A tree doesn't run to grow. It stands still, deeply rooted, and lets time do its quiet work. But we've mistaken stillness for stagnation. We've forgotten that rest is part of rhythm. For many of us, the wake-up call doesn't come as a choice. It comes as a crisis, a health scare, a loss, an unexpected silence that forces us to listen. In that moment, all the rushing, all the proving, all the noise, it stops. And what's left is something both terrifying and sacred. Space. In that space, you begin to see what was hidden by motion, the relationships you neglected, the dreams you postponed, the version of yourself that's been waiting patiently at the edge of your attention. It doesn't judge you. It just asks, can we stop running now? Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is nothing. Not quitting, but pausing. Not giving up, but breathing. It takes courage to be still in a world that celebrates motion. But every time you stop, even for a moment, you reclaim a piece of yourself. Maybe the real cost of always moving isn't burnout. It's forgetting how to live slowly enough to feel, because life doesn't ask us to be everywhere, only to be here, now, fully. There's a point in every long climb when you stop looking around. You're too focused on the next handhold, the next goal, the next small proof that you're still rising. And without noticing, you stop seeing the sky. That's how forgetting begins, quietly. You forget your laughter first, then the sound of your own breathing when it isn't rushed, then the way morning light used to feel before work became survival. We trade pieces of ourselves for progress, and the trade feels fair, until one day it doesn't. We thought we could separate who we are from what we do, but identity doesn't work that way. You pour yourself into the job, the title, the expectations, until the container becomes the content. And when someone asks, who are you? The only answer that comes is your resume. The strange thing is that success hides the loss so well. You look accomplished, you sound confident, you seem alive. But inside, something grows quiet, a part of you standing at the edge, waving, waiting to be seen again. The world sees your shine. It doesn't see your shadow. There are moments when the mask slips, when you forget to perform. Maybe it's late at night, scrolling through photos from a time when joy didn't need justification, or during a conversation that touches something real, and you realize how long it's been since you spoke from the heart instead of the schedule. Those moments sting because they remind you that the person you were is still somewhere inside, whispering, remember me? Forgetting yourself isn't dramatic. It's slow erosion. It's saying yes when you mean maybe, staying quiet when you should speak, proving instead of being. Each compromise feels small, but they add up. Tiny cuts that dull the edges of who you are. You start to fit perfectly into a world that no longer fits you. One day you look in the mirror and the reflection feels familiar but not known. You can recall achievements, milestones, responsibilities, but not feelings. You've become efficient at everything except being yourself. And yet that realization is not the end. It's the beginning. Because you can't truly lose yourself. You can only stop listening. The self waits, patient, persistent, beneath the noise. It doesn't demand your attention. It waits for your silence. When you finally pause long enough, you'll hear it again. That quiet, honest voice saying, come back. Not to your job, not to your image, but to the parts of you that don't need an audience. The parts that simply exist. The ones that still remember how to breathe, to wonder, to be. Forgetting yourself was never the tragedy. The tragedy would be never remembering. And the moment you start to listen, truly listen, is the moment you begin to come home. There comes a time when you stop trying to fix the noise, and instead you learn how to sit with it. That's when stillness begins, not as silence, but as acceptance. We were taught that peace is the reward for hard work, that it must be earned after we've done enough, proved enough, achieved enough. But stillness doesn't wait for permission. It simply waits for your attention. It's always been there, beneath the chaos, beneath the ambition, beneath the endless proving. The hardest lesson isn't how to succeed. It's how to slow down without guilt, to rest without feeling useless, To breathe without needing a reason? Because somewhere along the way, we confuse stillness with laziness and reflection with weakness. But stillness isn't the absence of effort. It's the art of presence. It's the courage to stop running toward what's next and to finally notice what's now. When you sit still long enough, the world doesn't shrink, it expands. The details you once missed, the light through the curtains, the sound of your own heartbeat, suddenly become enough. You start to see that peace isn't hiding in some perfect version of life. It's woven into the ordinary, the morning coffee, the walk without headphones, the quiet evening where nothing happens, and yet everything feels right. Stillness teaches you patience. It shows you that not every problem needs solving, and not every emotion needs explaining. Some things just need space, and space can heal what speed cannot. It's in stillness that you remember who you were before the noise. The part of you that didn't need validation, the version of you that laughed without reason, that rested without shame. You realize that stillness isn't about escaping the world, but about returning to it, more present, more whole, more human. And here's the quiet truth. Stillness doesn't change what you have. It changes how you see it. You may still have deadlines, responsibilities, expectations, but inside the tempo shifts. You start living by rhythm, not reaction. You move slower, but you move wiser. Maybe the world doesn't need us to do more. Maybe it just needs us to be more aware, more kind, more grounded. Because when we move from stillness, our actions carry depth. Our words soften, our choices heal. That is the lesson hidden in quiet. You don't have to fight the noise. You just have to stop feeding it. Stillness isn't the end of the story. It's the pause that lets you rewrite it. There's a different kind of success, the kind that doesn't sparkle on screens or shout for attention. It doesn't demand to be seen. It simply exists quietly, like morning light on an ordinary day. This kind of success can't be measured by numbers or titles or the speed of your progress. It's measured by something softer, by peace, by how deeply you sleep at night, by the laughter that feels unforced, by the moments you're fully present, not performing. We used to think success meant movement, the constant climbing, achieving, expanding. But maybe true success is contraction, the ability to return, to simplify, to choose less and feel more. To know that what you have, who you are, is already enough. There's a maturity in quiet success. It doesn't need validation. It gives it. It celebrates without comparison. It helps others rise instead of standing on top of them. It's not the loud triumph of achievement, but the gentle rhythm of alignment, when your work, your values, and your heart finally move in the same direction. The quiet kind of success doesn't chase happiness. It cultivates contentment. It's built not on control, but on trust. Trust that what's meant for you will find you, even if you stop shouting for it. Trust that slowing down doesn't mean falling behind. Trust that silence isn't empty. It's full of answers waiting to be heard. And here's the beautiful thing. When you reach this kind of success, you don't feel finished. You feel free, free from the noise, free from the race, free from the illusion that you need to become someone else to deserve peace. You start noticing life again, the taste of your coffee, the sound of rain, the way your heart slows down when you stop pretending. That's not failure. That's fullness. That's the reward for choosing presence over performance. And perhaps the greatest success of all is not how far you go, but how gently you return to yourself, to the people who matter, to the quiet that was waiting all along. When success becomes quiet, it stops being about you and starts being about meaning. And in that meaning, there is peace. And peace, once found, is worth more than any applause the world can give. There's a moment after the silence, a quiet return, when the world feels familiar again, but you no longer move through it the same way. You still wake up to alarms, open emails, walk into meetings. But something inside has shifted. You no longer rush to fill the silence. You listen, you watch, you breathe. That's the quiet revolution that happens inside a person who's been to the edge of burnout and back. You stop chasing, and start choosing. You no longer ask, what do I need to do to be seen? You ask instead, what's worth seeing? The return to meaning isn't dramatic. It's subtle. It's choosing conversations over notifications. It's caring more about connection than perfection. It's realizing that what makes a life rich isn't accumulation, it's attention. And attention, when given with intention, becomes love in motion. The more you slow down, the clearer things become. You start noticing the quiet moments that success used to drown out. The warmth of sunlight on your desk, the kindness in a coworker's voice, the strange beauty of doing one thing at a time. You begin to understand that peace is not found in escape, but in presence. Meaning isn't something we discover at the end of the race. It's something we create with every step, in the way we show up, listen, forgive, and try again. It's not an answer waiting in the future. It's a posture you carry in the now. And as you live differently, the world responds differently. You stop attracting noise and start recognizing harmony. Your work becomes quieter but deeper. Your relationships grow fewer but stronger. Even your ambitions begin to breathe, no longer driven by fear but guided by clarity. There's strength in this new way of being, a strength that doesn't shout, a confidence that doesn't compete. It's the kind of calm that only comes from having seen chaos and survived it. You no longer need the world to slow down because you've learned how to stay still within it. And maybe that's what meaning truly is. Not a destination, but a rhythm, a way of living where you no longer fight time, but walk beside it, quietly, deliberately, with open eyes and a lighter heart. There's a sound the world rarely talks about, the sound of enough. It doesn't come with applause, it doesn't trend, and it doesn't demand attention. It's quieter than success, softer than ambition, but when you finally hear it, it changes everything. Enough isn't a number, it's a feeling, a deep exhale that says, I can stop running now. It's the moment your shoulders drop, your heartbeat steadies, and for the first time in a long time, you feel like you belong exactly where you are. For years, we were taught to fear that word, to believe that enough meant giving up, that slowing down was failure, and contentment was complacency. We mistook exhaustion for dedication and busyness for purpose. We chased more as if it were oxygen, only to find ourselves breathless. But the sound of enough doesn't come to those who chase it. It comes to those who listen. It arrives softly after the noise has burned itself out. It waits for the moment you stop trying to impress life and start being in it. You notice it in small ways, in the way morning light spills across your desk without asking for permission, in the smile of a stranger that doesn't lead anywhere except here, in the stillness between your breaths when you realize nothing is missing. Enough isn't a destination, it's a threshold, the place where wanting meets gratitude, where striving turns into savoring, where the race becomes a walk and the walk becomes presence. When you reach that place, you don't stop caring about growth. You just stop confusing growth with noise. You start asking quieter questions. What really matters? What do I want to feel at the end of the day? And the answers, though simple, carry a depth no success can buy. Enough doesn't look like perfection. It looks like peace. It's the messy kitchen after a meal shared with people who matter. It's the tired smile after doing something you love. It's the quiet confidence of knowing you've done your best, and that your best doesn't need to be better today than it was yesterday. The sound of enough is the rhythm of your own life, finally heard beneath the static of comparison. It's not loud, but it's steady. It's the kind of music that plays only when you stop forcing it. And once you recognize it, the world begins to change. Not because the world is different, but because you are. You start to move slower, speak softer, listen longer. You start saying no to things that drain you and yes to things that restore you. You learn that success without peace is still failure, and that peace, even without success, is a kind of wealth. In a culture built on more effort, more output, more achievement, to whisper, "This is enough," is an act of rebellion, but it's also an act of wisdom, because every enough you claim creates space for what truly fulfills you. Enough work to feel useful, enough rest to feel whole, enough love to stay soft, enough challenge to stay alive, enough silence to stay sane. You start to build a life not from ambition, but from alignment. And in that alignment, you find freedom. The sound of enough isn't silence, it's balance. It's the quiet hum of a life that fits you. The life that doesn't shout, but sings. The kind of life where you don't need to prove, because being is proof enough. And when you finally hear it, that subtle, beautiful sound, you realize it's been there all along, beneath every victory, every failure, every restless night, waiting, calling, whispering in its gentle way. You've arrived, not at the end, but at yourself. The morning after the noise always feels strange. The silence is too wide, too clean, like a room that's just been emptied of furniture, still echoing with what used to live there. For a while, you don't know what to do with the quiet. You keep expecting the rush, the messages, the calls, the deadlines, but none of it comes. There's only the sound of your own breathing. And in that space, something both terrifying and sacred begins. You start to hear yourself again. It's not a dramatic rebirth. It's softer than that, like sunlight creeping across a floor, like the sound of coffee pouring into a mug, like the realization that somehow life has kept going, and it's inviting you to go with it, but this time at your own pace. The morning after the noise isn't peaceful right away. It's awkward. You feel the pull of old habits, the urge to check, to prove, to fill the silence with something productive. But if you resist, even for a minute, the quiet starts to feel less like emptiness and more like possibility. You begin to see what the noise had been hiding all along, the people who stayed, the parts of you that never left, the small joys that waited patiently for your attention. You realize the world was never asking you to be perfect, just present. There's a beauty in beginning again without starting over. You don't erase who you were, you just let go of who you were pretending to be. You keep the lessons, not the noise, the strength, not the strain. You carry forward the stillness that once felt so foreign, and it starts to feel like home. Every morning after the noise is a quiet test. Will you fill it again with the same distractions? Or will you let it breathe and build a life that finally fits the rhythm of your soul? You may not have all the answers yet. You may still fall into old patterns, but now you'll notice them sooner. You'll remember that peace isn't something you achieve, it's something you allow. And that enough isn't a finish line. It's a way of walking. The world will keep spinning fast. People will still chase, still shout, still rush. But you'll know something they don't, that life doesn't happen in the noise. It happens in the pauses, in the moments between one heartbeat and the next, between one decision and the stillness that follows. And when you finally learn to live in those pauses, the world stops feeling like a race. It becomes a song again. Not a song of triumph or conquest, but of balance, breath, and belonging. So when the morning comes, don't rush to fill it. Sit for a while, drink your coffee slowly, watch the light change, let the quiet speak. Because this is what all the noise was trying to teach you. Not how to become more, but how to be here. How to live a life that hums with peace, not applause. A life that may not be loud, but finally feels like yours. There's a quiet courage in continuing. Not the loud kind. Not the kind that climbs mountains or breaks records. But the gentle kind. The kind that wakes up again after another long night. That gets dressed, makes the bed, takes one small step forward, even when no one is watching. Continuing isn't glamorous. It doesn't come with applause. It's not about chasing momentum. It's about honoring rhythm. Because life isn't a sprint or a climb. It's a flow. Sometimes fast, sometimes still. And learning how to keep moving gently through both. That's the art. The truth is, peace doesn't mean everything stays calm. It means you've learned to carry calmness within you, even when the world forgets how to slow down. You begin to live like water. Steady, clear, unforced. You stop trying to shape every wave. You just let it pass, trusting that what's meant to stay will stay, and what's meant to leave will leave. Continuing is not about perfection, it's about presence. It's saying, I will keep showing up even softly. Even when my pace is slow, my voice quiet, my energy small? Because sometimes the smallest flame still keeps the whole room warm. There's power in that softness, a quiet strength that doesn't shout but stays. It's the kind of strength that understands that endings aren't failures. They're transitions. Each pause is an invitation. Each quiet morning, a new beginning. As you learn to continue gently, you start to notice how the world changes with you. You walk slower, but you see more. You speak less, but you mean more. You love quietly, but you love deeper. And somewhere along that path, you realize the noise wasn't what made you alive. The stillness was. So continue, not out of pressure, but out of peace. Continue because life is worth staying awake for. Because every breath you take in awareness is a victory in itself. Let the world rush if it must. You've learned a different tempo, the one that sounds like breathing, the one that feels like being, the one that whispers, "You're already enough." Just keep walking. And maybe one day, you'll look back and realize that continuing quietly was the loudest thing you ever did. And so, here we are. The noise has faded, the night has passed, and what's left is a quiet kind of clarity. You don't need to rush to hold on to it. Just breathe. Let it settle where it belongs, inside you. The world will call again tomorrow. Deadlines will whisper, ambitions will stir, and the rhythm of life will try to pull you back into its noise. But somewhere within you, there will always be a softer sound. The sound that says you can slow down, that you can live differently. Carry that stillness with you, not as armor, but as light. Let it remind you that peace isn't something you find. It's something you return to. Every morning, every breath, every gentle choice. Thank you for listening, for sharing this quiet space. Until next time, be kind to your pace and remember, the world is still loud, but you can choose your volume. And if tonight feels quieter than usual, that's okay. Let it. Let the quiet stretch around you like a blanket. Let your thoughts soften until they no longer demand answers. You've done enough. You've heard enough. You are enough. Close your eyes. Let the world move without you for a while. You've earned this stillness. And somewhere, in the gentle hum of silence, life begins again, softly, quietly, beautifully. And as the last sound fades, just remember, peace doesn't need to be found again. It's already here, waiting for you each time you pause.